risk of sounding like a load of miserable whatever, we're going to look at some features on cars now that we do like, because after all we do have a passion for cars, don't we, Martin?
A really simple one.
Go on.
And this is with more modern cars with the soft touch buttons. When you've finished your journey, you turn your lights off, you've just been through fog. The next time you start your car, the fog lights aren't on. Because there's nothing worse than driving with people. It was foggy 3 weeks ago, and they've got their click thing in, and they're still driving with the fog lights.
The thing is, and a lot of it was a trend with a lot of these boy racers and that, they do it, and the cars up and things, and they drive around with the fog lights on, the put the side lights on and put the fog lights on. Fine, just for in the car parks if they're meeting up and things like that, but you got somewhere they just drove like that, like you said, days on end like that, as if they didn't know. But there were some older cars that when you put your fog lights on at the front, your rear one came on as well. Sometimes they weren't independent, and they didn't realise they were driving around with the rear fog lights on. It looked horrendous. But yeah, I do like that feature, the way once the ignition's off, things like that have to be redone again, which is a good thing.
Yeah. It's the thing as well, because I don't know if your Fiesta suffers with this, Mike, but the ST lines that I've come across, you turn the engine on and the lights come on, so you turn them off, and as soon as you turn the engine on again, they come on again, and it's like, look, I don't want the lights on.
Well, you see, the trouble with mine is set at the moment on auto lights, and wherever the sensor's placed, let's say if there were a vehicle parked right close to me, it can be as bright as it is outside now, and as soon as I turn the engine on, the lights will come on.
You know why? Because in many foreign countries, you actually have to have your headlights on going through tunnels by law. And before, the delay was too great. You could actually get people... If the police car was in front of you and you went into the tunnel, the delay could actually get you into trouble. But, if it's quite sensitive... I mean, it's an annoyance. Like if you've got a bright sunny day, you've got a wagon park next to you, and you turn your car on and the headlights.
Oh well, we're talking less than a minute with that. It's like if I go under a tunnel and my lights come on. We're talking less than a minute easy. If especially if it's really bright like this, once you're out of the tunnel, they're off.
Yeah.
A BMW only yesterday went under the same bridge as me. His lights came on, mine came on. He came out and he was in front of me. He got right down the road, right to the end. He was on the opposite way. His was still on.
Yeah.
Mine had gone off half the time before this. I don't know if it's a thing you can change or I know I can change it when I turn the ignition off. I can leave the lights on for a certain length of time.
Yeah. One of the things I do like, especially with a lot of modern cars, is if you've got the right software and the right modified cable, there are various things in the ECUs you can actually tweak.
Yeah.
There's features that my car has that we hadn't a clue about in the UK when that car came out.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So, running lights, I can make the headlights part of the running lights setup. I can make the whole thing part of the running lights setup. And I can have it just when the engine's running. I can have it as soon as the ignition's on. I can play around with things like the central locking. I can do all sorts of things that...
one feature I found about this Fiesta, and I haven't tried it myself yet, I'm sure it does work. If you put the windows down, and then you block the car, if you keep your finger held on the button longer, even when it's locked, it will automatically put the windows up.
Now,
mine does that, my Astra does that.
I can do that with mine.
Yeah.
Now you see a feature I never knew.
Except you can't use it with the remote, you've got to do it with
the key.
Right, yeah. But again, that's a feature I like.
Yeah.
I find that useful.
What I used to find nice with my Citroen C5, although it annoyed my mum terribly, was when it was raining and the power was on and the windows were down, it would automatically bring the windows up. Except my mum used to be in, with her head through the window saying bye to my daughters when we were leaving the house, and it'd start raining and the windows started raining.
I'll tell you one feature I do like.
Yeah.
You may remember this off your dad's Focus that we filmed.
No.
I do believe it does it. I'm sure it did it one night. You pop the bonnet up. Your doors are unlocked, and you pop your bonnet up. While you're messing with it, after so long, your doors lock.
Yeah, the delay locking.
Yeah, which I think is a damn good idea. Because what's worse than your head under the bonnet sorting something out, and you've, let's say, left a bag or a phone on your passenger seat or whatever, someone comes along, you know, that's a good lie, your head's under there, and just help
What do
yourself.
they do if the key's in the ignition?
No.
Well, no, because of that focus, you get your key,
And put it in
the badge, flip the badge, do that, pop your bonnet up, you've got your keys with you, and it locks.
Yeah,
And I think even if you manage it by accident and you had some keys in there, I don't think you'd do it anyway. But I thought
But if you went round to the back of your car, left the keys in the boot, and then shut the boot, and then the car locks.
Yeah, there's always that.
There's always one way.
There is always one way around it. But
One thing that does annoy me, I never meant to be talking about things that actually we do like, but I just wanted to mention this. Cars these days, of course, have daytime running lights and stuff like that, and automatic lights that, of course, you can turn off.
yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But even if you're running around as it's getting dark with your daytime running lights on, your dashboard will still be lit up on like most cars. Now this is it really annoys me because you sit in a car and you think you see your dashboard lit up, so you think your lights are on, but they're not. It's just your running lights. So people are running around in almost dark conditions with just the running lights on.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
And it's because the dashboard's lit up, so my lights on.
I think this goes to the beauty of myself leaving the car on the auto lights, because there's no mistake there.
Yeah.
I'd sooner them come on just when they're not needed, but at least I know when they start they're on.
Do you know what I used to like about auto lights? Because when we go up to Edinburgh, we set off at ridiculous o'clock in the morning, so it's dark. And you're not then arriving somewhere at about 10 o'clock in the afternoon, or 10 o'clock in the morning, with your headlights still on and everybody else has come turned off because you've just been driving along, you've come down.
I do find them useful, but there is one I will mention that I won't say care for, and it's auto sensing wipers. I don't really like them.
I've only seen them working properly once, and that was on my Citroen C5.
I just don't like the idea that sometimes someone can just spray some screen wash from their car at your windscreen and your wipers go like mad, but then within half an hour it can start raining and you're thinking, come on. And it's as if they're asleep.
My Astra has automatic lights and wipers actually, and the wipers, they're not too bad. They're a lot better than some cars I've driven, but they can still be annoying at times. Obviously you can turn them off and put them in the off position.
Yeah.
But they never seem to come on enough when it starts raining. They take too long to get going.
Now, oddly enough, it is a feature I miss on my Road 75.
The automatic wipers.
I actually miss the automatic wipers.
You see, some cars, the idea can work and is good. It all depends on the car sometimes. Same as like intermittent wipers, you can set it on some cars and it's great. I know you can adjust them, but you can find the perfect balance sometimes. But then some, they just go crazy or they feel as if they're very lazy.
Yeah.
And you're just thinking, no, I need you to wipe just now, not now. And by that time you've travelled a bit and you need your windscreen clear, and the little things like that can just be a bit of you live with them, but you...
I am amazed how many people that I've seen driving in torrential rain and the wipers aren't working.
The one that always makes me laugh is the other way around, and it's those you see, and it might have rained a while back or whatever.
And they're still the wipers.
And then the wipers are going. And you're thinking, turn them off.
Or the back one, you see it going like that constantly. You think, are you actually looking in your rearview mirror?
Well, I know somebody who, even if it's on a light drizzle, and everyone will have the wipers on, they'll have them on intermittent, but they always put the back on as well.
Yeah.
To keep going all the time. And I don't like that.
No.
It's pointless because actually, it does depend on the car. Because like the Fiesta and SUVs do have that problem where, of course, you've got the water coming up from the road.
Yeah.
And then you've got the air turbulence, which then brings it back up onto the windscreen. You end up with filthy rear windscreens because of your own driving.
Yeah.
And obviously it tends to be more of a problem that's sort of
the back of my car. I'm sure you see most of it might look clean and that, and then you look at the back and think, what happened?
Yeah, it's basically
destroyed everything.
And one of the things, even when you've got mud flaps on, I mean, if you've got mud flaps on, it's better, but it's not ideal. And it's basically the aerodynamics of the car that brings the water back, which is why you need rear windscreen wipers. And sometimes it's actually better in certain conditions, like in winter, to just have it going all the time.
Yeah.
because it keeps the salt away,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Well, true.
But yeah, I do know what you mean.
So any more? I've got at least one I'm going to mention. But any more from you guys on stuff?
This is going to sound odd from someone who had an experience of a car where the actual idea failed and put me off them, but yet I still like the idea.
Go on.
Sunroofs.
Yeah.
I like the idea of driving along and suddenly, if the weather changes, whatever, being able to have a sunroof.
You should have bought that Saab.
Right. But as some people may know, and I will remind you, I had an MG sedan. I had an issue with the sunroof, and it completely put me off. Where I would avoid cars if they came with a sunroof. I wouldn't want the sunroof because there was always a fear of something going wrong.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't actually like the idea, because I do. It was the fear of something going wrong.
The other thing is as well, and this shows up in the 205 video, is that with certain non-factory fit sunroofs, you actually had a condensation problem.
Yeah.
And sometimes that would appear, sometimes it could be so bad it appeared as if it was a leak. Other times it wasn't too bad, but it depended partly on obviously the seal, because if something had gone wrong during the fitting, then you could have a really serious problem. But then again, when it was just plain glass.
The thing is, you see, when my dad had his Rover 400 and I used to drive it a bit, he had a sunroof on it, he's never had no issues with this. And I used to love it.
I must admit, as I mentioned before, I'm a big fan of it myself. The next car I have, I'm determined is going to have a sunroof thing because I do miss it. And even with air conditioning, which is very nice, it's nice to let a bit of light in.
But at the end of the day, I've had a lot of cars with air conditioning. And find I don't use it much. That it seems. I will use things like heated seats and that if it's got a more than I would air conditioning.
Yeah.
Because I just put my windows down.
The thing is, I mean, I don't miss sunroofs, and I think part of it is down to the fact that I had the convertible. And I always used to think, when you're driving a convertible, you see people there with the sunglasses on, and I just think to myself, yeah, poser. And I was determined not to fall into that bracket. When I got my MGs, the problem being you've got nowhere to hide from the sun.
No.
So you need sunglasses on because there's no other way of driving.
The thing is, and I know you've said it time and time again when we filmed it, I should have got the Saab.
Yeah.
And hindsight's a wonderful thing.
It is, it's fantastic.
It is, and I should have done. If I had the money, I would seek one out now. I really would. It is a really missed opportunity, was that. And the more I look back at the footage we filmed of it, and it's not far off coming round to nearly a year.
Yeah.
When we did it, it was in March, so we're not far off. I still think, if it's got that car, please, even on a day like this, enjoy it like mad, because I would have been doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, see, the other thing is as well, I had a bit of a bad experience with my first Rover SD1 with the sunroof, because it was 1995, the year of the drought.
Yes, I remember really well.
Yes, I do remember.
And I'd be driving, and of course there was no internal cover, so it was just the sun straight in on your head. And I got to a point where I hated that, and I probably wouldn't have a sun.
Was it a steel one then?
No, because that was my second.
I think nowadays I would. With a modern car, I would now again, and it is after a long time, chance a sunroof again, or failing that, get a convertible.
Well, the biggest sunroof in the world with a convertible, Martin.
Yeah, but it's one thing I've never actually done, and I feel a bit miffed that I had the chance to actually quickly and cheaply step into a convertible.
Two things you're going to need.
I didn't take it. Well, don't say hairnet.
No. Two things you're going to need: sunglasses
Oh God.
and a hat.
Yeah.
Because especially on days where it's ridiculously sunny and warm.
Yeah, you just don't realise it, do you? But I think it's one of those I must put on my to-do list. I think I've got to have a convertible.
So
I can get you an MGF.
Your favourite feature on a car then, Martin?
No, now then. My favourite feature on a car. It really is a toughie, this, but I I like cars with power. For all my car that I've got now is a very low engine car. I do like my cars with power. So I'm a bit of a gadget person, and I like the things where you can turn things off and play about with. Which is why a certain car which we filmed recently appeals to me in that way, that it's got certain modes.
Yes.
Which my other one at the time didn't have. So yeah, my favourite features are a bit like that. I'm not really over fussed with ones like when they say, oh well, most cars come with your power assisted steering and your electric windows and all that. But I was never one that were fussed over things like that. I've had cars that's had windy windows. I've had cars with no power assisted steering, and my driving experience has just been as enjoyable with them as it is with all the assisted things. So features like that I'm not really bothered about.
Your favourite feature, Malcolm?
It's quite difficult.
It is, isn't it, when you think about it?
Over the years you've been driving, what's the thing that you thought, Joe, that's a really good idea?
Most of the things, to be fair. I did like the four-wheel drive system that they had on one of the cars that I hired back when, or was hired for me when we were travelling around at one of the companies I used to work at, and it was nice to be able to corner with that bit more confidence with it.
There's no doubt in four-wheel drive has been a massive advancement.
You see, can I just say about certain features, and I've had this with a lot of Fords and a lot of other cars, where I've had a button on my remote for your tailgate. When you press it, it unlocks it, it just pops it up a little bit. A friend came to see me, he now lives in Germany, and he came over in his BMW, his company car.
And you undo it.
And he was walking down path and he pressed his, and yes, it popped it up, but then it went right up. And I thought, why doesn't every single boot do that? What is the point of a button?
It is becoming more common.
Pops it up a little bit, when really all you're going to do is go with your hand and go like that anyway. Why can't you just do the rest? And I just thought, what a simple but effective idea that was with BMW.
There's a bit of an issue with that. If you've got a tailgate and you've got a dog, you put the dog in the back, the chances are the dog's going to jump out while it's coming down, because when they go up, you've got mechanics to bring them down as well. And you're effectively then asking your dog to sit in a room that's getting ever smaller.
Yeah, there is that.
In terms of me, there's a couple of features I do like. Big fan of sunroofs, of course, as we're aware. Big fan of heated seats. Really like them. Got them on my car.
On my last ST I had heated seats, and I liked them because I could play the heated seat game. And I played that with someone when we went to the Butterfly World at Leeds, and I played the heated seat game and I won 5-0.
Good point.
It's a good point.
I have done that myself. I do like heated seats. Just really nice thing to have, especially when the weather's really cold. You need a car, especially with leather seats. It really is a massive bonus.
And this was the guy considering a Sandero.
Hey, don't knock the dates here.
But this is the thing I like about that car, and it's one of the things I like about my car as well. Simplicity. There's less to go wrong.
There is a lot to be said for a car like that. There are people out there, I think, who think that sometimes cars these days are getting just that bit too complicated.
Some say, well, you've got this, you've got that. Isn't it too much to go wrong? And they kind of have a point there, because the more you've got, the more chances someone's going to fail.
Going back to when we did our top 3 cars. My second place car was before KA. I mentioned I had 3 of them. They were 3 of the simplest, most basic cars I've ever owned. But I tell you what, they were some of the most best cars I've ever owned. And there's no doubt about it. And I think a lot of that has to do with how simple they were.
Well, in the short time I had my Puma, I'd gone back from a lot of things like start, stop button, all sorts of things.
Keyless entry.
Everything, assistance of this, all sorts of stuff for electric windows. And I for all it had electric windows and certain things like that, it was lacking in a lot of things.
But wasn't it a refreshing change?
It was enjoyable because you change your driving style as well a little bit.
Yeah.
You can sometimes get a little bit lazy with things that do things for you, or things that are so close to the touch of a button or whatever. And you do slowly change your driving style a little bit, how you react with things in the car. And I found it an exercise until it broke down.
Best feature, my favourite feature of any car I've ever seen, I don't own a car with this but I've experienced it many times, is probably one of the simplest ideas or sort of innovations I've ever seen on any car.
Okay.
But it's downright the best. Martin has had a car with these, I know.
I have, yeah.
You guessed what it is, haven't you?
I have already, yeah, I know what it is.
On the, I'm not sure you get on the new one, I'm assuming you can, but on the previous generation of Ford Focus, you were able to get something called door edge guards. With little things, plastic things that as soon as you open the door, they pop out onto the edge of the
Just
door.
sort of fold themselves around the door,
Yeah.
and it's a neat
And then
idea.
as soon as you push the door back in, they whip in again. This is a brilliant. Why doesn't every single car have this? Why? I mean, because basically you can rest your door on, say you find a wall or something, you can rest your door on the wall while you get stuff out, you get yourself out, without damaging the paintwork of the car. Now, a lot of people put door edge guards on the edge of the doors.
Spoils the look of the car as well, does that?
Well, it does spoil the look of the car, but more importantly, when you take them off,
paintwork underneath.
they create more scratches than what they actually prevent.
Yeah.
You're also trapping muck and whatever underneath. Now, the beauty of the ones on the Focus is that when you're not using them, they're not there.
That's it.
So you can see the air and everything, they still get into the paintwork, you know, and all that. Just a fabulous idea.
My only annoying little thing about it is Ford again, the idea was so good on certain cars, you denied it others.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I had an Focus ST3 in Spirit Blue. It was on a 14 plate. It was of that style and that generation, and it had them. I then, later on down the line, ended up with an ST3 in the yellow, which you'll have seen on the film, which was the facelift model of it. All the bells and whistles, all that. And it didn't have them.
Because it was an extra.
And you can see when you open the door, there was a little blanking plastic piece shoved in where you knew that's where it would be, where the arm would come out and it would come around.
Yeah.
And you think, did they just not bother putting it on this one as it were rolling down the line?
I think it was an £85 option on a new car.
And then I see a certain person who collects his nitrous blue Focus RS, and the first thing in the dealership he does is show you around the car. He opens it and he says, "Oh, I really like these door edge protectors." And I said, "What? I had them on my ST," and now they're making out it's a brilliant thing that you get with a Focus RS.
But yes, that is my favourite feature of any. I know it might sound ridiculous.
I do like that feature.
I just thought the first time I experienced one.
Effective.
A simple piece of plastic that folds around your door, and it's a good feature.
The first time I experienced him, Malcolm probably remember this, was actually in Jersey, in the Challenge, and we was on holiday and hired a Focus.
Wasn't that 1 litre EcoBoost?
I believe it was. And lo and behold, I've not seen them before up to this point. I opened the door and this thing just went, I'm like, what's that? And then obviously more research entailed.
Half an hour into the holiday, I'll just do that again.
I'm just going to keep doing this all day, shutting this off.
Come here, I'll just show this bloke a little bit. Look at my cabinet.
It wasn't on like an ST, I think it was a titanium or something like that to spec car.
But I get this sort of theory in my head that the cars are rolling down the line at Ford's production line, and they're just thinking, we've put it on 3 of them, leave it off 6 now, let's just put it on this one. Hang on a minute, with a few of these in stock, of these parts, let's get a stock down a bit, let's bang them on all these 6 next cars coming along. And I've seen it happen with cars in the past where the same sort of car gets different wheels.
Yeah.
All sorts of things, and they're not at any request, and
well, I'm inclined to think that it's just down to whether a customer's ordered it or not, really. But then again,
I think now Ford's made it an optional extra to get money out of people, whereas before they were fitting them as standard
thing
on
is,
the higher end of cars.
why do they not put? Why is it not on Mondeos? Why is it not on?
Why are they not on every
models?
car?
Yeah, every car.
It's actually such a simple mechanical thing as well.
Yeah, and it's not as if the way doors are shaped and made that it can't be on certain cars, because it can be adapted to anything.
It's not even an electrical thing.
No.
It's literally a mechanical setup. It's so easy to actually put in place.
It is a simple but effective, brilliant design.
So that was my favourite feature of, well, any car really. It happens to be door edge guards on a Ford Focus.
But my favourite feature of cars, and it has to be how you can get your sheer power out of some cars. And
so yeah, that's that.
I like the programmability of modern cars as well.
I do like.
That's the geek in me.
I do like some gadgets in cars. I liked how, and they've continued the trend in the new one, but I like how in the STs and the Mark II RS you got some red, like LEDs that shone down to where your gear stick is and stuff like that. But in them ones there was super bright in the night. It lit all a lot up. Got it in the Mark III RS. I don't think they're as good. I think they're not as bright really. But the idea's still there. I like to see they continue the idea with that. But I just like little touches like that with cars. I'm not one of these that all turn around and say, yeah, but my car's got folding mirrors, or it's got these power assisted windows and electric this. Things like that don't appeal to me. I like little extra things that are very different and make you think, oh, I actually like that. So that's me, as well as the power.
But going back to, and you'll probably have to edit this, Malcolm. But
I'm going to have to edit this down quite a lot.
no, but the order. But anyway, going back to one feature I don't like, and everyone's got an opinion on this: electronic handbrakes.
Awful.
Now you see, I was first introduced with electronic handbrakes, just a little button, with them on Deo.
Mine was a TIG one.
I found it very weird, but also once I got used to it, and I got my next car then which had a handbrake, it felt strange reaching for a handbrake because I was starting to get used to it. And again, it sounded
the difference is that some cars, I know Vauxhalls do this, they come off automatically. So when you get to your bike point, especially if you think you're on a hill, they do have hill hold assist, don't they? But you get to your bike point to set off, and you see it, and it comes off, and away you go. Some cars, however,
mine with a little toggle
don't
thing that you had to actually.
And so you got to get basically to your bike point, you press your hammer down, and then you set off. I suppose it's not a big deal. It's not a big change to how you drive, but from a personal point of view, I generally just prefer a lever. I generally prefer a handbrake.
Was it Ford? Actually selling a... No, it isn't Ford. It's... I think it's VW. Actually selling an optional handbrake thing that we basically put on. It's still automatic handbrake.
But just for a look?
But no, if you want to...
Oh, right.
Try and do handbrake turns and things like that.
Oh, God. That's unbelievable.
What?
That is unbelievable.
I know of at least one that's done that.
Well, I know one thing I found out about my Fiesta ST line. I've gone through the menus and I found driving assist, lane keeping thing and all this lot, that is on the car. And I found hill start assist. Tick the box, yeah, okay, I'll have it on. Now it's started every time I start the car, boinging saying hill start assist not available. It's not a feature on the car, but yet it's still in the computer system on the menu.
Yeah.
I thought, you wally brains. You've actually given me a feature that I can even select but is not there.
Yeah.
This is down to cost. This is because they will build cost. I mean, look at my Astra, right? This is a prime example of something like this. It's got a phone button on the steering wheel. Has it got Bluetooth? Has it heck? Right? But they build every car and put a button on there because some of them are going to have it. So it's cheaper to produce every car with the same thing rather than some without and some with.
I always think of, correct me if I'm wrong, but the film with Bruce Willis in The Fifth Element, where he's in this car and they're all floating vehicles in future and that, and it's where he either strikes someone or whatever, and he gets some damage to the vehicle, and the computer voice says, "You've just had the crash," and he basically says, "No, yeah," as if he knows before the computer's told him that he's had an accident. And I think eventually that's how cars are going to go. You're going to be doing something and they're going to tell you that you've done something, you'll think,
this shows how far ahead Rover actually were.
Because
they made a car with a voice synthesizer. It was actually the MG Maestros.
I do remember that because one of my dad's supervisors
it would quite happily tell you, once you ground to a halt, that you would run out of fuel.
Yeah. I remember we went to his supervisor's house, so we had one, and he borrowed the car, and we went off in the car, and it was saying things like about your seatbelt not clipped in and all. It just went on and on and on, as if it was basically finding things. I've got to tell you this, and I've got to...
But the thing was, like I said, it's telling you stuff that's
just happened that you know.
It's exactly what the Rover did.
And
the MG, sorry.
It's unbelievable that a car can actually, one, tell you in the first place. It's good technology, but then tell you too late, as if it's rubbing it in.
Now, the thing I loved about my Laguna was it had the voice synthesizer in, and it sounded like a cross between Alan Freeman and Kit.
I love a car that sounded like Kit, but not Alan Freeman.
And
not half.
It was quite funny because one of the ABS sensors failed, and it would go, "Warning, ABS has failed, but the brakes will function normally." Thank you, that's very reassuring.
Mind you, it shouldn't bother you because you said you didn't like ABS
Exactly.
anyway.
The thing is just the fact that every time I started the car,
where technology is going, it can be a bit frightening but funny at the same time. But with my car I've got at the moment, as I pointed out, it's got what I call the caution lady, which you can't turn her off. But I don't know what I've done to this day, but boy have I quietened her down. Because before, if the radio, let's say we're on, volume 6, it didn't matter what song we're on, I don't like that. If it were going to cut in, it'd do it and it'd go caution right above it, and it'd lower the stereo and she'd be a certain volume, and then straight back. Fine if it's a lot of rubbish on radio. If you're listening to a good track, it gets annoying that if all of a sudden she butts in like that. One day I decided to turn the radio fairly loud and left it like that for a few days. And now, when you're driving along and she says caution, the radio is like overriding her. The radio's still louder than her.
You just damaged your ears, that's all.
And she's now getting to a point now when I come out of work and I'm going on where the speed cameras, before it were caution in line with radio, now it's got to where she goes caution. Honestly, it's a whisper. To such a point you can't even tell she's saying caution. You just get this.
Do you think she's come to the conclusion that it's futile, Martin?
Do you remember
what I've done?
Do you remember the feature I did with the sat-navs?
Yeah.
This is getting really annoying now with Google. The Google Maps now will warn you of every single speed camera, whether you're speeding or not. And when you're driving along on a smart motorway, it's really, really annoying.
Every 10 seconds.
The thing is, she can be so bold at shouting caution for every sign she reads or speed camera that's coming up, but she couldn't turn around and say caution, washer fluid low or all like that. No, you got me bothered saying that. So I have
got a proper beanie bonnet about this washer fluid.
Yeah, because I've run out. The thing is, I really think it's too much gimmicky that's sort of overcrossing things that are not needed and are needed, and there's no happy medium with it sometimes.
Yeah.
And the fact I've silenced it a bit, I think, is one for me that I really enjoy that.
Victory!
I'm saying that now, but you watch, I'll go to work tomorrow and she'll be caution, really loud. She'll get her own back.
But that's the discussion topic, Craig's topics, as we've affectionately called.
I think we've sort of laid into cars a bit.
I think we may have wandered off topic a few times.
We will point out, for all we have niggles with cars and not what, we do enjoy cars and driving them and seeing different.
I don't want it to come across that we're all
anti-car, pitchforks out.
We are not anti-car.
No.
If we were anti-car, we would be doing it.
I will sum up for me personally. Malcolm being the same age, but I'm a bit old school. I like the sort of older cars that we've had in the past. How they've been some have been a bit tech free, and all you do when you get in a car is drive and enjoy the driving experience. And I think some are going beyond that, where you're not as engaged the same. I don't think
it's an interesting point, because I think I would say probably somewhere around about the late 90s sort of time was, I think, there's a point in time where cars were at a really happy medium between being refined and comfortable and enjoyable to drive, but without being so technical that you're basically driving a massive computer.
Yeah.
I think around that sort of time period, it was.
I think
sort of the sweet spot. I think
one car summed it up. Was it one of the newish at the time Renault Clio's where it had flappy paddle things on it, and they're taken away. There's no gear change. There's no. And to me, as the person says who was reviewing the car, it's an expression of driving that I prefer. It's changing gear, and you denied it. And I'm not so overjoyed about this floppy paddle business.
Need a Bluetooth gear lever to pretend.
Yeah, but no, I do believe that was probably the sort of the period of time where things were. This is sort of, like I said, a happy medium.
Dual clutch gearboxes are fine when they work. If you're unfortunate enough to have a Ford PowerShift gearbox, good luck.
And even so, we mentioned car companies that have gone in the past and things like that. I still want a Dodge Challenger, and I know it'd be very hard for me to source one out, but if I had the money, I think they'd come a looking. If they wanted to supply me one, I'd get one. So
if my numbers came up, Martin, you can have one.
Right, well, if my numbers come up, you guys can pick and choose your own cars as well, but you've got all this on camera.
Damn.
You can't get much with a tenner.
Well, no.
But yes, that brings the end of the topic. I
It
do
does.
enjoy it. Now, please give us your feedback.
As we said, a very bizarre one today.
It is. We've had a bit of a mixed discussion today, but let us know. Are there features on cars that we've not mentioned that you really, really hate? Are there features on cars that we've not mentioned you really, really like? So that's the discussion for this episode.
It is. Again, as always, we've rambled on a lot. As we do.
Malcolm's got some editing.
Massive editing to do. But you see, when we get on, we don't have to get on.
But I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you look forward to next month's discussion, and we'll show you something interesting for you then as well.
Oh, we certainly will. We may be in the same. We won't call it a studio, but it's getting that way. In the same place.
We need a proper recording location, don't we?
That's it. I hope you enjoy it. See you next time.
See you later. Bye.